All right, welcome to the Edmonton Oilers 2019-20 shotgun season preview. Before we get started, I just wanted to say that I'm going through these teams alphabetically, obviously, and it's Tuesday. Tomorrow's Wednesday, the beginning of the regular season. I'm late on this. I'm going to try to finish them by the end of the week. I'm sorry about that. My job is kind of gets in the way just a little bit. Unfortunately, this isn't my paying job. Now, let's start with Edmonton's season-ending 2018-19 stats. They finished 7th in the division, 25th overall, 20th on offense, tied for 25th on defense. Their power play was 9th, top 10, not bad. Their penalty kill was 30th. Ouch. Their new coach should fix that. Now, who was the big acquisition in the offseason? Ken Holland, formerly of the Detroit Red Wings, who mucked up the last 6 or 7 years there with bad contracts, but really isn't anyone better than Peter Chiarelli at this moment. And he did do a lot of good things in Detroit in the 90s and early 2000s, so hopefully he has said that he's looking at long-term here. This isn't a quick fix. And he's right. He's handcuffed with some of these contracts and the mess that was left behind. Now, he did go out and get a new coach in Dave Tippett, formerly senior advisor of the New Seattle franchise that'll be upcoming. Last time he coached, I want to say it was a few years ago with the Arizona Coyotes, structured them into a real defensive-oriented team because they just lacked a lot of offensive talent at all, and they had to buy in at some point. Now, I know what you're going to say. Can Hitchcock try to implement that last season for Edmonton? And that worked for the first month or so, I want to say, and then it kind of went off a cliff. So, how is Dave Tippett can do any better? He's got to. He's got to, because I don't see anywhere else for this team to go because there's a lack of talent, especially on the wing. But they've only got McDavid, Draisaitl, and Hopkins really potting any goals, creating any offense, because their defense really doesn't either. And their bottom six seems to be kind of non-existent somewhat. So that's an issue. So, I mean, this system has got to work. I don't know if it's going to take them to the playoffs. I think that's a little pushing it a bit. But with the clock is ticking with McDavid. You wonder how patient this kid is going to be. He's in his fourth year now or so, and he's only made the playoff once. And you're going to be soon enough. You're going to be cruising into his the prime of his career. And yeah, that could become a sticky situation at some point. Let's talk about some of the key departures for the team. Milan Lucic, who was traded for James Neal. Good trade for Edmonton. First one for Ken Holland. That was a beauty. He got rid of Milan Lucic's unmovable contract, really, because of the way it's structured and the buyout. It's just it's impossible to go. James Neal can be bought out, and he has a much higher ceiling. He had a blip last year. Hopefully it was a blip. I mean, otherwise he's been a 20-goal scorer for 7+ years with a varied number of teams in Nashville and Vegas, to name a couple. And then some other guys, they bought out Andre Sekera on defense. He's now playing a depth position with the Dallas Stars. Tobias Ryder left. Alex Petrovic, Stolaroz left. Ty Ratty, Kevin Gravel, and Jason Garrison. Some of the new additions to the forward group: Joachim Nygaard out of Europe. We might get into a little bit later. Josh Archibald, another depth winger. Marcus Granlund, formerly of the Vancouver Canucks for the last 2 or 3 seasons. We'll see if they put him in the center position or wing. James Neal I already mentioned. Nothing has really changed on defense, but there is a hole there because of the Sekera buyout. So you could see some rookies jumping in, trying to take advantage of that opportunity for the 6th and the 7th extra man position. We'll get into that shortly. Now, goalies. They basically swapped players and goalies with the Calgary Flames. So Mike Smith, I wouldn't say he's backing up Koskinen. I say it's a 1A, 1B kind of situation. Mike Smith had a below 900 save percentage last year with Calgary, but he was pretty amazing. He was their best player in the playoffs. So Koskinen they're stuck with, I don't know, for the next 3 or 4 years because of that crazy contract Chiarelli gave him. Premature, let's say. He just paid too much for what he does. I think he went from a 9.11 before the contract was signed to a 9.03 afterwards. Yeah, We'll get back into it. Their third string goalie shows here is Shane Starrett. We'll see if that is still going by the time tomorrow rolls around. And what can we talk about next? Let's talk about some of the rookies that might be coming aboard. Let's start with defense first. Evan Bouchard, of course, might be the most likely one to step into that number 6 spot. But don't forget about Caleb Jones, Joel Person, and Ethan Bear as well. So those are all possibilities. And then up front, they've got Tyler Benson, who had a terrific year in the AHL last season. He had 66 points in 68 games. Now, mind you, only 15 of those were goals, which is what they really need on the wing. But take what you can get. They also have some European free agents who are going to fight for jobs. Joachim Nygaard, who I mentioned earlier, and Gaten Haas as well. We'll see how that pans out. And let's look at daily face-off and see what kind of lines they have structured here. Now they have McDavid, Neal, and Nygaard on the first line, and Draisaitl, Hopkins, and Cassian on the second. I'm not sure I see that happening. Now the season ended with, as you probably know, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Cassian on the first line. Maybe you'll see Hopkins with Neal and Nygaard on the second. It'll be really interesting to see how they work Neal especially and Nygaard into that lineup. Now, on the third line, they have Gaten Haas centering Chiasson and Granlund. Maybe Granlund and Haas are both. I want to say maybe they're both different shooters in terms of that could help the face-off when it comes to draws. Chiasson had a great year last season. He scored like 20 goals or so, but that might be a bit of blip as well. Formerly the Washington Capitals. I don't know if he can do that again. Yeah. He did spend some time on McDavid's wing, if you remember that. Now, on the fourth line here, they've got Colby Cave in the middle with Josh Archibald and Kyra on the wing. Worker bees. I don't see any goals there, though. Which you usually don't from a fourth line, to be fair. But let's move on to the defensive pairings they have here. They got Nurse and Larson on the first pairing. Clefbaum and Bear. Yeah, not Bouchard. As a second pairing. And on the third pairing, they got Russell and Benning. I don't even, come to think of it, going back to the forward group, I don't remember seeing Benson anywhere here from the AHL. And you would think he would get a shot at one of these winger positions. Now, let's look into Cap Friendly and let's see what they have for cap space left. Just over $2.5 million. Actually, just over 2.6. After this coming season, they've got a bunch of UFAs on the forward group, but unfortunately none of them are making a lot of money. Zach Cassian at age 28 at just under $2 million. Marcus Granlund at age 26 at 1.3. Josh Archibald, $1 million. He's 26, as is Joachim Nygaard, who's making under $1 million. So are the rest of these guys. Riley Sheenan at age 27, Thomas Yurko at age 26, and then you have an RFA with arbitration rights being Colby Cave at age 24. On the defense, the only UFA is Brandon Manning. He's 29, making 2.250. He may walk, and you have 3 RFAs with arbitration rights, and I'm talking about Darnell Nurse, who's going to need a raise. He's making 3.2 now. And then Matthew Benning at 1.9. They may decide to keep him a right shot defenseman. And Joel Person, age 25. He's a right shot, by the way, coming over from Europe. We'll see how he pans out. Goalies, Mike Smith, of course, is only signed for 1 year at $2 million. Koskinen at 3 more, 4.5 at age 31. Mind you, Mike Smith is 37. This has got to be the oldest goalie tandem in the league. I'd be interested in finding out that stat. Just Mike Smith, I think, counts for both. It raises that right up. Now, they do have someone on LTIR, and that's Kyle Brodziak at 1.150. He's a UFA after next season as well. And they buried Sam Gagne in the minors. He'll be a UFA after next year with just over a $2 million contract at age 30 left. Now, what really surprised me is they didn't pick up any of the... today, some waivers went through for Josh Hosang of the New York Islanders. Kenny Augustino from the Toronto Maple Leafs. I was very surprised they didn't pick up any of those guys. It's kind of a low-risk kind of maneuver. None of them are making much. I think they're making league minimum as wingers who might be able to score, who had potential. That's kind of perplexing why they didn't jump in there and do that. Casey DeSmith also went through. I'm not saying they would have got him after signing, the other Smith, but yeah, we'll see. Where do I see them finishing after this season? Really, not much different than the last. I'd say. Their division is a bit wide open, and that's the only thing they've got going for them. If Dave Tiffett pulls out a miracle out of these guys and they overachieve, the only guarantees really are Vegas and Calgary, and I guess you could say San Jose as well, getting into the playoffs. But Vancouver and Arizona have both improved, and I think more so than the Oilers in the offseason. So I could see Edmonton finishing ahead of maybe LA or Anaheim, but that's about it. So I see him finishing as low as 7th again and no higher than 6th. Hopefully I'm wrong about that, but as always, I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Hit like if you like this video. Smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And hey, if you happen to have any Hockey Geek friends, please don't feel shy about sharing. Thanks again, and I'll see you soon.